Oh, good morning and welcome to February on the allotments. Haven't been up to visit my plot for some time actually. Excuse my croaky voice, I'm just recovering from a very nasty cold and haven't been up to visit the plot for some time. We've had 3 storms in January in the southwest and I'm just up here to see what it might be looking like, and I suspect it's not going to be that good. We celebrate success and we celebrate the fact that everything's looking lovely and pretty, but there's that downtime as well. There's the winter, and if you're new to allotment gardening, it might be quite disheartening if you've just taken on a wreck of a plot with everything needing doing, and all you get to see online are pretty pictures of thriving plots with lovely raised beds and sheds and greenhouses and all the rest of it. And actually the reality is that there's times like now where it looks a bit like Armageddon everywhere, because we've had lots and lots of storms, and you've got to take the rough with the smooth when it comes to allotment gardening. You really have. So I'm just inside the plot area now, and it's looking pretty ropey everywhere. So here we are. This is what allotment plots can sometimes look like in the winter when the storms have been hitting one after another. So often we see plots looking pretty and beautiful and happy in the summer, and then there's the damage that can be done. You can see this one here has had a lot of damage done. The plots are looking a bit sad at the moment, but my plot so far, oh look, we've got a fence down over here, look, that's going to need a little bit of work. My plot is looking surprisingly civilised actually, and it's weeks since I've been up here. The last time I came up here was actually Boxing Day, and there was a video about my winter pruning which I put on, fruit trees and autumn raspberries and gooseberries and that kind of thing. That's the last time I came up here. So we're talking, what, about knocking on 6 weeks ago. And the reason I haven't come up here is not because I'm a coward, because some people don't come near their plots in the winter. I like coming up to the allotment in the winter. I think it's a really healthy thing to do, fresh air, exercise at a much needed time of year. Now, the reason I don't come up here or haven't come up here is because it's been so unimaginably wet, and the ground leading up has been just so boggy. There's nothing that I could reasonably do up here that would be in any way helpful. So I'm just going to take you around and show you a few little bits of area here. So that disgusting looking stump, they're red cabbages, which look pretty bad, don't they? Let's give that one a kick. Oh yeah, that's really squidgy. I wonder if there's a cabbage in there. I might have to just try that and see. But we can see that the old membrane's been blown around a bit. I think what I might do is take those cabbages out actually and cover that up properly. Everything else seems to have done okay. It's all looking a little bit barren and sad. And interestingly, I put this pot on. There we are, look. A little bit of early rhubarb. So you don't have to buy yourself a big fancy rhubarb force, so you can just stick a pot over the top. That should do the trick all right. And the old flower beds aren't looking too bad. And this was my job on Boxing Day. I think it's always hard to imagine anything actually growing in these plots in the winter. Now this is my so-called wild bit over here. This is my nature garden. So I've got a tree here, a couple of trees actually. But what happens in the early summer is this is an absolute mash. not really a mess, it's just full of wild flowers. It actually looks very nice. And the old pond is just full of, it's my nature pond, which is absolutely full of all sorts of rubbish at the moment. Lots of vegetation in there. I need to do something about topping up the water levels, actually. Surprised that they need doing, but there we are, they do. And still got some winter leeks. I say winter leeks, could have those any time of year. They seem to be reasonably okay. I might be able to pull some of those as well. And I've got another mouldy looking cabbage over there, look. That really doesn't look very appetising. I don't know if I'm going to get around to eating any of those, actually. One thing I have got are plentiful water supplies. Loads of them. Everywhere you go, there's buckets of water. Oh, excuse me. Sound like I've got on a 60 a day habit at the moment. Nothing of the sort. And then the compost bins, of course, which are degrading nicely. They've gone down quite a bit, actually. They were right up to the top back in the autumn. So I reckon a bit of compost turning when it's a bit drier. And the other thing I've got to do is look at some of my tools. So down here, this wheelbarrow tyre is split. See there? See how split that is? So that's going to need a new tyre, because that wheelbarrow is very, very useful when it comes to carting things around. And I don't know whether you can pick up the din that's going on in the background. I'm not far from the local primary school. I think it might be lunchtime, judging by the delighted screams coming from there. But yes, certainly the water supplies are looking good. And over here, the old daffs are starting to make an appearance as well, which is good. Now, in a minute, I'm going to have a go at doing something truly impressive. Opening the garden shed door, because what happens with that in the winter is it gets really swelled up and it's very hard to open. So I'll give that a whirl in a minute as well. So, a few little bits to do. Let's get started. Okay. Right, let's have a go. See if we can open this door. Oh, I've got one other thing I need. I'll show you later, but the roof has been repaired. I say the roof has been repaired as though I booked someone else to do it. I actually booked me to do it, which was a very satisfying job. Right, oh, that's really stiff. That is really tight. I don't think this is going to open. Oh, it has. That's amazing. Yay! I've opened the shed door. That's a miracle. I never thought I'd be able to do that. Now, what's happened here? Oh, we've got a little bit of wood to come across there. Yeah, there's a little wear and tear, isn't there? Right, so what I was going to do is a few little bits and pieces, but nothing too much. So the first thing I think we'll do is we'll see if we can get these manky old cabbages out on the ground, because they really are revolting. I wouldn't feed those to a pig. So I'll just, if I'm not on here, it's pointing somewhere else. Oh, there is actually cabbage. It's just so wet though. I mean, my advice to anyone who's got an allotment, unless it's really sandy soil and it's nice and dry, I really wouldn't bother getting on it and doing anything too ambitious, because it's not worth it really. So I've taken those out now, because otherwise they're just going to rot. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover this up, and then the whole thing's covered. And I've ordered all my seeds for this year. If you join the National Allotment Society, you get a seed catalogue with some really good discounts, and they are brilliant. Honestly, it's worth it. You can either join as an individual, or if you've got an allotment, you can actually be part of an association. Either will do. I joined as an individual, and it certainly has saved me a lot of money. So I'm just going to chuck this over here like that, because I don't think there's any point keeping those in the ground any longer. I might even get to cut them down a bit and turn them into something vaguely edible. We often think red cabbage is just for Christmas, but actually it makes very nice additions to salads. You can eat it as a vegetable, you can do what you do at Christmas with it and have it with lots of other bits. I'll put this tire on as well. Tires are very good for weighting down fabric. They are great for that, actually, because once you get a wind on this, it will blow up. So that's good. I'm pleased I've done that. So what I'll do is take this over to the compost bin and do a bit of titivating, tidying up, that kind of thing. So just quickly, and then I think I'll call it a day. My message today is always come up and check your allotment during the winter. Obviously, if it's sheeting it down with rain or howling a gale or whatever, it's not really worth it. Just let it sleep, really. But to come up maybe 2 or 3 times over the winter and just check up on things, it's well worth it. And I'll just show you, before Christmas, I came up and discovered, to my horror, that the felt had ripped off the shed roof. Had I not come up, I wouldn't have noticed. And with all the rain we've had, that could have got right into the roof, right into the shed, and damaged quite a few things. And I've got equipment in there which I wouldn't want to get damaged. So it was well worth coming up and actually checking it and doing something about it. And I repaired that. I think it was a few days after Boxing Day, actually. So it is just basic maintenance to come up. And don't be disheartened, you know, if you come up and you see your allotment plot and it just looks dreadful. Things do pick up, so I think it's well worth seeing it in the down times and having a mental note of where things are growing and what things are doing, and then you can plan ahead. And January, February is a great time for planning what you're going to grow and where. So I've got a plan for this year. My big plan for this year is actually to make more use of my raised beds, because I had some very good yields from those last year. They were very impressive, actually. So in this bed, this is a new raised bed. I need to get some soil in here, actually, because it's not very deep. This bed here similarly needs a bit more soil in it as well. But these beds over here, they did really well. So I had a mixture of beetroot and carrots in these raised beds, and they were superb. So I will definitely be growing some bits and bobs in there, but I will rotate. So I won't be growing the same things in the second year running. That's never a good idea. And then over here in this bed, obviously I've got leeks still growing, and I'll probably swap some things over, maybe pop some carrots or beetroot in there for a change. And really, I'm going to focus very much on the raised beds this year, and I might actually leave some of my other beds covered and unused and give them what they used to call in the medieval times a fallow year, where you just let the soil rest. So that is the winter allotment. We're in February. Next month I'll come up again and give you an idea of where we are. Maybe start thinking about popping in some broad beans, that kind of thing, and making a start on the growing season. And I can't wait. And just while I remember, please subscribe if you can to Pink Octopus Productions. We've got a range of different videos. A lot of them are our travels and holidays, but I also like to put a regular update on the allotment plot as well. So thank you for watching, and happy February. Winter is nearly over. Hooray!